Alright, Charlie guys, here I'm live on GhanaCover. Yes, subscribe to their channel, put them on post notification. You understand? As we day here, we can't give you guys back-to-back content. My name is Ace Kanti, GhanaCover. We dey cover every GhanaCover, everything for Ghana. We dey cover. We outside.
Where the females came from. Remember this here? There was a wooden staircase here. But this was done by the British so that anytime it rains, excess water moves out of that through this and out of the castle. We are going down this way. So when we get here, let's bend and count 5 steps down. 5 steps down before we raise our heads.
Jonathan. Mr. Jonathan.
Nico, what did you think was the like? I want to like I'm coming out. So, this way. Take me this way. I want it this way. Is it clear? Let the lights.
Alright, so this we call the room of no return, and that behind us is original gate or door of no return.
No return.
No return, yes, no return. But when you look outside, you can see the sea. Be careful you don't fall.
Nope.
Be careful. So we can see the sea, that the sea has gone back, the sea has receded.
Yeah.
But back in those days, the sea was very close to the castle, but the sea was not too deep. So the bigger ships couldn't draw close. So what they did down there, they placed smaller boats and ladder. All the enslaved had to get into the boats. Then it took them to the bigger ships. And these were sent to the Caribbeans, the Americas, Europe. They worked in plantations, in mines, in factories, in homes. They never came back.
And they died.
Yeah, they died there. Because they never came back, they died there. This we call the gate or the door of no return. But they had children, so they had descendants. And their descendants today are coming back home. So this we have renamed as the door or the gate of return. Yes, renamed that. Tell me something about the size of this.
It's very narrow.
Yes. And why was that made narrow for the slaves?
Why? You had to go one by one?
Yes. A means of controlling how there was no way they could have escaped. So what happened to the fat ones? This is a very narrow gate. How did they go out?
Were there fat ones?
Why do you think there were no fat ones?
Because they were basically starved for 3 months.
Perfect. But the same gate was bigger in the days of trading in gold when they first arrived. So the gate was from this side here to this side here for gold.
Yeah.
Then for human beings, very small. So which is important? Is it the gold for the big gates and the humans for the small gates? Then the reason why we had to bend, so please let's look here. So originally when the castle was built, all these bricks were not here. So this area was a very big space. You can see from way up there. So in trading in gold, they could easily, comfortably walk into this without bending with gold. Then in trading in humans, all these were deliberately fixed again so that they could control movement. Looking around us, we have many more of these rings. So all these are here to remember those who could not make it alive at this place. Some people come here, they pray traditionally by pouring libation, using bottles of gin, bottles of water, to pour libation, to pray to ancestors right here. That's why we have the calabash behind us. The brown thing there is calabash. We have many more of the bottles here. So this is also a room of prayer. Is there any questions? You want to sit?
No, I'm
Really? I have a question.
Yeah.
So, and the time.
Okay, let's ask our question outside so that the group can come in.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay. Please, what's your name? There are about 5 concrete pillars right down there. You see that? So those are the remains of the jetties. That's where the bigger ships had to anchor because that side was deep enough for them to anchor. And then the smaller boats transported all the slaves to the bigger ships and across the Atlantic Ocean to the New World. So anytime they get fish, that's one of the places where they sell fresh, different types. Any questions? What's the part? You can still ask that.
I was asking at the time they were like, the time they were the water was closed.
Yeah.
So the door, did they need to jump or to walk inside?
Yeah, so there was a ladder down the door to the boats. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to church up here. Please.
Yeah.
Some of them had houses outside.
Wedding and stuff?
Yes.
You need to
Yes, later.
Yes, most of them.
walk up.
Most of them also had houses.
Like it.
Built by the Dutch. We call this the Dutch Reformed Church. A church they built on top of the Phoenix Kingdom. So we have the Dutch. We know all Dutch. Psalm 132, verse 14. Old Dutch. This is my resting place forever and ever. Here I will sit and I have preserved. 132. Right, so these are kitchens of the governor. One here, another there. Kitchens of the governor right here. You can see that probably. Then classroom for
Hello.
so that's classroom right here. Classroom, we can have a look at this. Classroom here for the mulattoes. Right here, classroom. And let's have a look at these.
So they were brought back here in 26 years and then they were in the classroom.
Alright, so these are cannons. Guns. And these were used to protect the castle from intruders. Then up down the hill, we saw that in the picture. Fort St. Jago, built by the Dutch in 1665. So that's where the Dutch held more soldiers who protected the castle from theirs. Because it's on the hill, the soldiers who stayed there could see everywhere in the town. They spotted enemies from afar. Then they alerted the soldiers who were here by standing on the tower and waving at them with flags. Now that brownstone house, you can come closer. It's one of the places where the pregnant females were sent to give birth right ahead of us. Yes, but today it's more like a hotel. It belongs to a politician right here. And the politician's wife is a mulatto. Remember mulatto? Yes, so she's a descendant of the mixed race. That's how come they own this property. Now this extension was built by the Dutch right down here. This was built by the Dutch. We call this the service courtyard. So the Dutch had shops. In the shops were carpenters, masons, the likes to fix their damaged items. Then where we see the wood, 1, 2, these are 2 extra water reservoirs built by the Dutch. The Dutch built this out of fear. They thought the main one we saw was poisoned. So they had to build these 2 fuel for their own safety. Poisoned by the Portuguese, yes. So they had to build this for their safety. They never trusted the Portuguese. Yes. But when the British were here, they converted all the shops to dormitories. So some of the policemen had to sleep here and not in the dungeons. Now let's see the boat here, then we can take our picture.
Okay. But their settlement was bombarded by the British in 1873, and lots of them died. But the few who survived, but this is the original. Please, you can take some pictures, then we see where the governor stayed.
Can you take a picture of
Well ventilated. Then the living rooms this way. These are the governor had 2 living rooms, one here and one next to us. Then behind the black door, a bathroom and a dressing room here. So how many rooms? 5 rooms for one governor. Just one governor, 5 rooms. Are we carrying? Please.
and the electricity was installed by the Brits then?
No, it's not original.
Okay.
This is where they deliberated on issues. But you can see it's no longer a boardroom today. This is a craft shop. And if you want to know more about the slave trade, I would encourage that you get one of these books. So these are very good reading materials. This starts with the history of Elmina. Then read. And these bigger ones talk about slave trade from all the castles we have. This is African form of slavery here. So Africans practice their own form of slavery, known as indigenous slavery. Indigenous slavery. This was written by my boss in glasses. That's my boss. He wrote this. Okay.
So how much is the history of Elmina?
60 Ghana cedis.
This the other one?
60 Ghana cedis. 60. So after the meetings, the governor stood here and he addressed all the soldiers from the side here. So these two were built by the Dutch. So the Dutch actually had to have their soldiers on top of it. So they had to take that's how you see what is. But when the British were here, they converted it to so on the right, they kept a queen mother called Yasanwa.
Yes, I know her.
You know her. So she was a warrior, so she fought with men to protect the golden stone. But unfortunately, she was captured by the British, locked in there for 1 year, and later exiled at Seychelles Island. She stayed for about 20 years. Unfortunately, she died there. Then right to the left, we had a king called Prempeh the First. Prempeh the First from the Ashanti region. So he was captured also by the British, locked in there for 4 years, sent to Freetown for 1 year, then claimed 3 years to Seychelles Island, but he was brought down alive. And the house was built for maybe Kumasi. They will call that Prempeh's. You want to take a family picture? Yeah, okay. See the last one. Can do? The governor's way, and she had to go down the same way to the dungeon. So this was more like a private access to the governor's way. Please can you help me? It's very heavy. Yes, okay, so let's go out now. So these were offices back in those days. I think you're will be at the other side. So when you get to the drawbridge, you just take right now. You'll be there. So the drawbridge, remember the drawbridge. Alright, so this is metal, original metal, placed here by the Dutch. And you see this big W is a symbol for the West Indies Company, this. Where takes the governor worked. And these are 2 coats of arms. And this brings our tour to an end. Do you have any questions? Drunk was conducted themselves. The soldiers were punished in here, and they were held in here for a few hours, later released. But because this was meant for European soldiers, it's well ventilated. There's a window here, second window here. And even from this gate, original gate, with a lot of spaces, it allows more air to flow into this. Let's compare this to the second piece. Not the same. What does this mean? It means yes. Please come. I'll close the door for a few seconds. Is it the same? No, it's not. Yes, and this was meant for the African male slaves because some of the men tried to fight back for their freedom. The men were taken from their dungeons, they were locked in here, but there were so many in this small space. And once they were here, no water for them, no food for them. So these were left here to starve until they all died, until they all died, until they all died. When they died, the soldiers then looked through these holes on the door. That's why this was created. They came for their bodies and threw their bodies into the sea. So there was no way an African man walked in here alive. Then he walked out of this alive. No. So we call this the condemned cell. And that's why we have that symbol on top of it, the skull and 2 crossbones. This is the end of that, so finally. Thank you.